December 13th is a very important day with a big announcement. I have all the details and what you need to know right here in the video, so let's get right into it. Alright, December 13th is rapidly approaching and there's going to be a big announcement coming out on that day that we certainly want to pay attention to, as it's going to impact all of us in some way, shape, or form. Therefore, we probably want to know about what is going to be released on that day. That's exactly what I'm going to be talking about here in the video, so let's get into it and talk about what is going on December 13th, as we have a very busy month upon us and there's a lot of big announcements coming out, and this is just another one to add to our list. So let's get right into it. However, really fast before we do, thank you so much for joining me. If you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, please make sure to subscribe by hitting the button right down below the video. As I am your one and only daily advocate, I am here for you right by your side every single day, as I truly want to help you out and keep you updated with everything going on, as there's new information hitting the wire, the announcements, the updates, the reports, the announcements, and everything else coming out. I'm doing all the research and breaking it all down into these short videos, which I deliver a couple times throughout the day right here on the channel, so you can stay updated with what is actually going on, and most importantly, how it's going to impact you, your money, your benefits, your lifestyle, your bank account. And of course, I also want to point out anything that you may be able to grab and or take advantage of, including money, benefits, raises to benefits, checks, stimulus, programs, or anything else like that for the low income and fixed income. Of course, I want to bring that to your attention right away. So again, thanks so much for joining me. Please subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet, and let's get into it and talk about December 13th, what is going to be announced on that day, and why it's so incredibly important going forward. Alright, so like I've been saying here in the last few videos, there's a lot going on this month alone, and realistically, as we approach the end of the year, it's only going to get busier and busier, and then after the start of the new year, it's going to get even more busy as the new Congress will be sworn in, and there's going to be a lot going on there as well. Seriously, it is very busy time right now. There's a lot going on. But anyway, I do want to focus on December 13th and why this day and the big announcement coming out is going to be so impactful and influential for the low income, the fixed income, and virtually all Americans right now. All right, so here's what it comes down to. On the morning of December 13th, we're going to be getting the latest inflation data. This is going to be represented by the CPI, Consumer Price Index. Now, this is going to be very important because this report comes out once per month. Generally, it comes out around the middle of the month, and this is when we're going to be getting the next CPI data release, which is the morning of December 13th in regards to the month of November. So this inflation report that's going to be coming out will be for the inflation coming out in the month of November. Let me quickly ask you this much. Did you see inflation go down, or what I should say is, did you see prices go down in the month of November? I mean, seriously, that is not a trick question. The answer is pretty much no, not really. Unless you grabbed some kind of special sale or something like that around the Thanksgiving time when there were some special sales going on, there were some nice prices on different things. But other than that, for the most part, did you see prices go down on virtually anything? Pretty much not, right? We continue to see prices going up. Well, we're going to be seeing the official data coming out on the morning of the 13th, and that is going to tell us what inflation did for the month of November as well. Now, this is going to be very important. Why? Well, for a variety of different reasons, but number one, this report is going to be very influential when it comes down to the Federal Reserve and what they do with their interest rate policy with their next FOMC meeting, Free Open Market Committee, which is what FOMC stands for. But anyway, they meet every 6 weeks and they determine what they're going to be doing with the interest rates going forward. Well, as we've been seeing for the last 6 months or so, they've been aggressively raising interest rates, 75 basis points for the last few meetings here, and we've been seeing that they're aggressive with their interest rate hikes, right? Well, this is going to be very impactful going forward because, as we've talked about so many times, as we continue to see the Federal Reserve coming out aggressively raising interest rates, that's simply meaning that any money that we have borrowed right now, like on a credit card, or if we're going to be getting a new maybe auto loan or student loans or home equity line of credit or personal loan, or literally it goes on and on. It doesn't really matter. If you're borrowing money from a bank or some type of financial institution or basically anywhere right now, if you're borrowing any kind of money, you're going to be paying a lot more in interest right now, as interest rates have continued to go up significantly over the last 6 or 7 months or so. They've gone up a ton just in the last few months this year alone. So as a result of this, if we continue to see increased inflation, if we continue to see inflation running very, very hot, just like we've been seeing for the last several reports here, we're going to continue to see the Federal Reserve stepping their foot on the of gas right now, which in other words, continuously raising interest rates, which is getting life to be more and more expensive for a lot of people. Now, here's what's interesting as well. Now, obviously, we're kind of right in the middle of the shopping season, right? Obviously, there's not a shopping season, but again, a lot of people are doing some shopping right now because of the holidays. A lot of holidays going on right now. People trying to buy something special for maybe people that are, family members, maybe a spouse, other loved ones, friends, family members, people like this. A lot of people are trying to buy stuff right now for those people. However, as we've talked about recently in some of these other reports that are coming out right now, a lot of people, like 51% of people right now, are holding back on a lot of their shopping this year just because of inflation and because they don't have any money. Nobody has any money, right? How are you supposed to buy stuff when you have no money? We can't trade sheep anymore. I'm sorry. That was back like 500 years ago when you could trade a sheep or a turtle or maybe a cow for like a something, right? You can't do that anymore, right? Well, maybe you can somewhere, but not here and not in most cases, right? Nobody probably wants your pet cow for a pair of shoes. It's just not working anymore, right? In exchange for that, they actually want some money these days, right? Well, here's the thing. Because of all this inflation, because of everything going on right now, a lot of people are not going to be doing shopping this year, which probably isn't the worst thing in the world. Realistically, with prices as high as they really are right now, a lot of us are probably looking at the situation thinking, no, I'm kind of good. I'll wait for prices to come down, and why would I reward all of these retailers and these manufacturers and all these people with these increased prices? Why would I trade my hard-earned money, just like everybody right now is thinking about, why would I trade my limited amount of dollars right now for increased prices on things like that and then reward all of these different retailers who are trying to sell this stuff by telling them, hey, I'll buy your inflated prices on all these items? Why do we do that? Just doesn't make sense to a lot of people. And that's what I've been seeing out there a lot right now as well, where people, number one, simply don't have the money. And number two, a lot of people just say, I'm good. I'm just kind of good right now, right? I don't need to go out and buy a bunch of stuff right now because it's just really expensive, right? So as a result of that, this next inflation report is going to be very, very important, and we're going to be seeing that the morning of December 13th. And again, this is for the inflation in the month of November. Now, here's what I want to watch very closely. Now, the last several reports that we've been getting out, we continue to see the headline numbers coming down, right? The headline number is the big number that they always report and say, look, inflation is going down. Inflation is negative. No, sorry, it's not negative. But rather, when we dig into these reports, what we're actually seeing is that inflation continues to rise on the very important things like shelter, rent prices, food, things like this. We continue to see inflation actually rising. In fact, just over the last 12-month period alone, we've seen food prices increase by about 14%, and they continue to increase. The last several reports, we continue to see food prices still increasing. So tell me that inflation is going down when all the things that all of us are buying on a regular basis, like, I don't know, food, it continues to rise. So I'm not really sure how they can tell us that inflation is going down when real inflation is actually still going up on the things that all of us are buying on a regular basis. Now, again, some inflation is going down on different things. Like, for example, like gas prices. Gas prices, to be fair, actually have gone down a little bit over the last, 4, 5, 6 months or so. Gas prices have actually gone down a little bit. However, do we buy more food every month or do we buy more gas every month? You might fill up your car, say, twice a month with gas, maybe 3 times, maybe 4 times if you're driving a ton. But for the most part, the vast majority of people probably fill up their vehicles maybe once, twice, maybe 3 times a month. Especially somebody who is low income or fixed income, you're probably not going out all that much. You're probably not burning up all that much gas, right? So you're probably spending significantly more on food every month than what you are on gas. Now, again, like I've talked about, food continues to go up in inflation, and this is something we've seen going up a ton. In fact, some items like eggs, for example, just over the last 12 months alone, are up almost 40% just in the last 1 year alone. That's craziness right there. I mean, seriously. Eggs. Remember back in the day when you'd go out to the grocery store and buy like a gallon of milk, a loaf of bread, a pack of eggs, and maybe like some other staple type items? You could walk out the door of the grocery store for maybe like $10 or less. You could get some of the most staple items like I just listed off right there for maybe $10. Now you're spending $10 on like a pack of eggs. I mean, seriously, it's crazy how expensive eggs are right now, right? That's just eggs alone. And then you've got milk and you've got bread and you've got some other staple items like that. again, it's getting very, very expensive, and a lot of people are being priced right out of this market right now, and it's not fair. It's not a good situation, which is also why I've been talking about recently in some of these reports that I've been coming across. A lot of these food banks right now, food banks, food pantries, are seeing huge numbers of people coming in right now simply because they don't have the money. They don't have the money to cover their regular, expenses on food. They don't have enough money to buy the food that they need on an ongoing basis. These food banks all across the country right now, especially as we're getting into these colder days and months, and we're getting into the colder season right now, a lot of people are spending the extra money that they have just trying to keep their homes a little bit warmer right now, even though the temperatures are even turned down. But a lot of people are unfortunately spending any money that they had for maybe food, things like this, or even not even any money that they had on maybe keeping their home warm. And then unfortunately, they don't have any food money left, right? So all these food banks are seeing tons of people coming in right now. And unfortunately, a lot of these food banks are also struggling to keep up with these people because a lot of extra people are coming in trying to get services, trying to get some extra food right now. The food banks, again, are paying huge prices on all of these food items that are coming in. And again, they're also struggling to keep up as well. So again, not a good cycle that we're entering into right now. But this next inflation report that will be coming out on the 13th will be very important as well. And it's going to give us a better glimpse into what this inflation is doing throughout the month of November. And again, we're probably going to see a bunch of these politicians and people coming out saying, oh, it's delayed information. Okay, it's delayed information a little bit, but the fact of the matter is, this is still showing what's really going on right now, right? So whether it's delayed or not, we're still seeing inflation going up, right? So even though they continue to come out and say this every single time, they say it's delayed, it's not accurate. Well, it's delayed as of like 2 weeks time, right? So as of like the end of November into when this report actually comes out on the 13th, yes, it's delayed a little bit, but we're still seeing this every single month over month over month. We're still seeing these prices continue to rise. So does that really help a lot? Not really, you know what I mean? So anyway, I'm going to continue watching this report very closely. And again, this is going to be very important because this is going to indicate what the Federal Reserve will likely be doing with their next FOMC meeting, their interest rate policy, and are they going to raise interest rates? Are they going to lower them? Or are they going to keep them the same? What are they going to be doing going forward? And this is all going to be very, very important because it translates into how much we're paying for any money that we're borrowing in interest rates. That's very important as well. Also, not only that, it's going to give us a better glimpse into how much more have prices increased with everything that we buy on a regular basis, right? The list goes on and on, as I've talked about so many times in previous videos, that we continue to see this inflation rising very rapidly, and it's not a pretty situation for a lot of people right now. So anyway, I'll continue watching this very closely, and remember this much as well. The more that this inflation continues to rage on, the more that the Federal Reserve continues to raise interest rates, the higher the likelihood we're going to see a major economic contraction. And like I've said before, if we see a major economic contraction, we officially dip into a real prolonged recession, which is a lot of people are saying right now in 2023, a real deep prolonged recession, the likelihood of additional checks going out continues to increase greater and greater, because when recessions hit, that's what they do, is they print up money and they send it out in the form of stimulus checks. They've done it for the last 21 years. They've done it every single recession. They've sent out stimulus checks. Why would this one be different? It's not going to be any different. So again, I'll keep you posted as I do get more details. Anyway, please subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. Share the video with your friends, family, social media, and go back and check out similar thousands and thousands of videos here on the channel. I'm here for you in any way that I possibly can be. Please enjoy your day. Have a nice one, and I'll catch you again later in the next video.